like elbowing and pushing or something. And I'm like trying to like step from me. And I'm like, finally I turn around. I go, bro, the fuck's your problem? I'm like, you want to fucking bodybuild or fight?
Flex Lewis, you're Straight Outta The Lair. My next guest is known for his intense training style, blue-collar work ethic, family man, and he is the epitome of never giving up. A man who has seen the highest of highs in bodybuilding, a two-time Arnold Classic winner, and the runner-up at the prestigious Mr. Olympia. This athlete has cemented his name in the history books as being one of the most hardcore bodybuilders ever to do it. Here's a podcast with Branch Warren. Branch Warren.
What's up, Flex?
We are live, my friend.
And thank you for having me.
Fucking honor, bro. We've got a lot of great stories we're going to talk about, I'm sure. And also a lot of things that I don't even know what's been going on in the world of Branch. And I thought, there's been conversations about, when you come to Vegas next, let's get on the sofa, let's talk about everything. And we've gone back and forth. I was like, you know what? Too much. Let's link up. Olympia weekend. You're coming in. You're going to do an activation here with Gasp. Yeah. And this will go out after the Olympia. So just so you know. But the whole Gasp team is coming in. I was like, Branch, let's do a fucking podcast, man. Let's catch up whilst talking shop and talking all of the above, because for me and you, man, there's always so much that we do in the day-to-day, and we never have a chance to really sit down like this, right?
No, never. And I was trying to think when I met you. It's getting close to 20 years ago.
Oh, bro, I had a conversation with you. I was like I told you, your ears burning. 2 days in a row we were talking about you, by the way. All good. And somebody asked me the same thing. It's like, how long have you known Branch for? And I was like, when was it that you and I met for the first time? Was it California? When we were guest posing together?
Was it? I think it was Dallas. Was it Dallas, Europa?
When I competed with when my boy was powerlifting.
You weren't even, your boy's power. You weren't even pro yet. You hadn't even turned pro yet.
Holy shit, bro.
I don't think you'd even signed with Gaspari yet.
No, I hadn't.
So that was
fucking
early on.
You beat me on the memory banks there, man. So. Jesus, you're holding more muscle. Your memory's fucking better. I gotta step up my shit.
But still sharp, baby.
Yeah, because one of my boys, crazy fucking Chris Jenkins, was powerlifting. Johnny was competing in the same show. Mm-hmm. And Chris, has this very unique look because I call him a spice boy. Doesn't look like he can pull what he pulls.
Oh, he's stupid strong.
Stupid. And
I call him a sleeper, man. I've seen guys like that in the gym. And he's like, you're thinking there's no way they can do that. They pick it up and you're like, how the hell do you just do that?
I know. Natural athlete. Pull the mic in a little bit, Branch. There we go. Is that good?
That's good. There
we go. We were talking earlier, and again, I want to try to start somewhere, because you and I can start in that's the great thing about you and I talking. We could start anywhere, but
there's a whole bunch of stuff
there's a whole bunch of
we can't put on the podcast.
Yeah, but that's true. That's true. Yes. And the wives are going to be asking, what are you talking about? It's like, there's nothing. Don't worry. Now we're going to get in shit for saying this. No. But all jokes aside, we were just talking about life after bodybuilding, right? And I'm like, Jesus, Branch, can you just lose a little bit of weight since retired? I know I've seen you at your biggest too, but you're still fucking huge, man.
Man, I've lost 40 pounds probably.
Where?
40 some odd pounds, yeah. So, trust me. So, matter of fact, for coming to Vegas here, I went to try on a suit. I hadn't worn it in a minute. It was a suit I had when I was still competing. I tried it on. It looked like a kid. When you're a kid and you try on your dad's clothes.
No.
I'm like.
When you competing too?
Yeah, well, because that was that suit that I had made when I was competing. And so I was going to wear it here in Vegas, for the show on Saturday night. And I'm like, this ain't going to work. I'm like, it's like a freaking little kid put on his dad's suit. Like, that's messed up. So, when I knew when I retired, I wanted to lose some weight. And I think before we started the podcast, I was talking about it. And my goal was, I was like, 265, 270 off season. Mm-hmm. I want to get down to like 225 and just be, like I told Trish, I was like, I'm in shape for bodybuilding. I want to be in shape for life. Yeah. And there's a big difference. And like I tell guys, when you're in your 20s and 30s, you can be 100 pounds, you can be super heavy, train, do all that stuff. You get in your 40s, it'll start catching up to you. You get in your 50s, it'll definitely catch up to you. And, I had my fun. I lived 15 years. I got to live my dream. Had a blast doing it. And then when it was over, I was like, I want to lose weight. Well, Johnny, I was still training with Johnny. He was still competing. So that first year I was retired, nothing really changed, to be honest with you. So I'm still training with him. And if I wasn't eating and doing everything, I needed to recover,
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna be able to keep up, So I want to push him, want him to do good.
Yeah.
And so the first year I didn't really lose any weight. I stayed about the same. After that, I was like, all right, I'm gonna focus on this. So instead of eating like 6-7 meals a day, I'd cut a meal out. I'd lose some weight, then my weight would kind of plateau. So I'd cut another meal out. I got down to about 4 meals and like a protein shake. Then my weight started coming down, and it leveled out about. I bounced between 225 and 230.
What do you right now?
Probably about 230.
I think you're full of shit.
So, and,
After this podcast, I'm going to have you on the fucking scale.
all right.
You're 230 right now? Jesus Christ, bro. I don't think you're 230, but I'd like to be blown away. But
Oh, you think I'm heavier?
fuck
No
yes.
fucking way. There's no way. I feel good. I started running.
Yeah.
So I got for like 3 days a week. I was running 2 miles a day.
Yeah.
And people are like, how do you run? I'm like, just put one foot in front of the other and go. So
Your knees okay?
yeah, my knees are great. So
Fucking
my
hell.
joints, somehow are great.
Yeah.
The only problem I had a tendon. I had several injuries, that were all tendon related.
Yeah.
But as far as joints, knock on wood, I feel good.
You touched on the injuries. And this was one of the podcasts we spoke about yesterday. I think it was Jose we spoke about you on, and then it was somebody else. But in my head, mate, you are like the epitome of comeback, and the mindset that has gone on to that. You've had career-threatening injuries over the years. I mean, let's be honest, fucking career-threatening. A lot of people wouldn't even think of even coming back. They do the rehab, maybe, and that in itself is hard. And then you have not only been at a point where you've had to assess what happened, because I remember speaking to you after some of these things, go through the rehab, and also then put yourself back into the mentality of, I'm going to fucking win. Let me fucking show the world. And you fucking come back and you win. You don't even win. You win the Arnold Classic, and you also then they go on to do second place at the Olympia, right?
It's
Crazy.
life ain't fair, man. I learned that very early on as a kid. Shit happens. And so when shit happens, you can cry about it, you can complain about it. What good that gonna do? You either overcome it or you don't, right? So, you live the same dream I lived. And from a little boy, you dream of to do what we did, basically. And so when something like that happens, are you gonna let that stop your dream and everything you trained for? At that point, your entire life. And I wasn't gonna let anything, the hardest one I came back from was my quad injury. I tore the quad completely off the bone. I'm sure everybody's heard that story. And I'm sitting there and come home. I tear it on a Saturday. I'm out of town, and I'm 30 days from Olympia, and have surgery on Monday morning, get reattached, and it's Wednesday. 2 days post surgery. I'm sitting there on the couch and I'm reading all the forums and stuff, and everybody's like singing basically writing my obituary.
R.I.P.
Yeah, you're done, right? And I'm sitting there and I start getting mad, and I'm like, my exact thoughts were, who the fuck is gonna tell me? What man has the right to tell another man he's done? I'm like, ain't nobody gonna tell me I'm done. And I sit there and me being me, I just got mad. I got madder and madder, and I sat there and I said, you know what? I ain't gonna say a word. I'm just gonna do it. And I told Trish, I said, I'm doing the Arnold. She goes, in like 6.5 months. I go, yeah. And she goes, you better start eating.
No way.
So she went to the kitchen,
Yeah.
cooked me a big plate of chicken and rice, and put it in my lap. And he goes, that's meal number 1.
Wow.
We got 5 more to go. And I was like, I started eating. And I remember I sitting there, my bulldog's laying on the couch with me, and he's looking at me, and I'm like, don't touch my food. I started to prep for that Arnold Classic 2 days post surgery. And a couple days later, I think 2 days later, I went into the gym, Metroflex, and I walk in, and Johnny goes, yo, what are you doing? I go, I'm fucking training for the Arnold. He just looked at me and shook his head. He goes, fuck it.
You had a cast on, but you had like one of them things on, right?
Yeah, I had
like
a cast on, a brace thing on, because your leg, your leg is immobilized.
Yeah.
And I trained chest that day, and I remember I had a great workout. I had the 180-pound dumbbells, incline 405 reps, and with my leg, I just had to prop my leg up and.
Yeah, how the fuck do you stabilize yourself with 180s with one leg, Branch?
Just fucking do it, bro. And it's amazing. I think I went through this whole process. Physically, it's the hardest thing I went through because you have to learn how to walk again. First of all, you got to learn how to bend get your range of motion back, and bend your leg again, and incredibly painful. And then you got to learn how to walk again. And the first day post rehab that I started training, I did one plate, a 45-pound plate on one side of the leg press. I could barely get 10 reps. My whole leg was just quivering. And I got so mad. I'm like, and so I did another set, And I got Brian Dobson. You know, I told him, I said, I need your help on this one, dude. He said, all right. He told me how we're going to do it. And that's the only time in the 30 years I've known the man, I disagreed with him. The next day we came back and we had the whole discussion again. And I finally said, all right, it's in your hands. And best decision I ever made.
Jeez.
And so he put me through the workouts every day. And we did it. I did exactly what he said. And, you know, if anybody's ever trained with Brian, his leg workouts are the most brutal you can ever imagine. And a guy by the name of Tom Platts taught him how to train legs. And so I did it. And you don't realize what you're really capable of until you go through something like that. And if you have the mental toughness, it's amazing what your body will do. And it's just I call it just being motivated. You know, I was set my sights on that show, and I'm like, I'm going to do the show, and no matter what, I'm going to make it happen. And it wasn't until I was about 30 days out that I was like, I looked in the mirror when I got done training, I posed, and I looked at myself, and I was like, all right, I can win this thing. And I knew I was going to be able to compete. I just didn't know if I was going to be able to compete successfully. Yeah. And 30 days out, I was at the gym there, I posed, and Brian looked at me, and he just shook his head. I was like, I'm going to get this. Yeah. And I went there and I did it, and I won. And you know, sometimes in life, when something like that happens, you think it's the worst possible thing that can happen to you. But then looking back on it, it's a total blessing. Yeah. Because after getting through that, I realized there wasn't much that could go come my way I couldn't overcome. I had enough confidence in it, in myself, my determination, my ability to, anything that came my way, I felt like I could overcome. And so looking back on it, it was a blessing.
I don't think the sport of bodybuilding, the fitness industry, give you enough flowers and credit for that, Matt, because that is 6 months is kind of a rehab, right? To even get back on your feet, fucking in the gym would be.
Doctor told me
incredible.
He said a year before you can even think about really training.
Yeah, he told you a year, but he would tell everybody else fucking a year and a half.
So,
and then 6 months later, you're back on stage. I was there, so that's why it was like it was very. I just say from an athlete standpoint who has a mentality to win, it was very motivational for me to see that. Even though as a friend who I knew you went through what you went through, I think we spoke the day it happened. You text me.
Yeah, I was in Atlanta. Yeah,
I remember. I was like, oh my God, I was going to drive to you, remember? I was in Tennessee, you're living in Tennessee, and I was like, do you want me to drive to you? And then you didn't answer me back, and I was like, hey, I'm driving to you. And then you message me back and say, oh, don't leave. I'm already on the way to Texas. I got surgery in 2 days or something, you said to me.
Yeah. I knew my surgeon. Yeah. And so I texted him. I said, hey, and I called him actually. And he answered the phone. He said, what'd you do?
Oh, shit, right.
And wow. And I told him he said, I'll meet you in the office on Sunday when you get in. And so he met me, and we got an MRI at like 5 o'clock in the morning on Monday. And about 10 a.m. I was under the knife. So, because my thing was like, I wanted it. The sooner I got it fixed, the sooner I could recover. Yeah. And you know, you work your ass off to get to the top of our sport, like you do any sport. And I just got second at the Olympia, just won the Arnold Classic, and this happens. I'm just like, not stopping, bro. I'm gonna figure out. I told myself I don't give a fuck what I have to do. I don't give a fuck how bad it hurts. I'm gonna overcome this. I'm like, this will not beat me, and I'm not gonna let anything or anyone tell me I'm done. Like when I'm done, I'm gonna be the one that decide I'm done. And
when do you know? When do you know you were done?
My last show, 2016 Arnold. The year before I had a real good year, and won a show, did real well at the Arnold and the Olympia, and then I'm getting ready for that show, and I just turned 41, like that week of the show, and it was just different. Everything I was training, my body wouldn't respond, and everything was just different. And I talked to Ronnie, and he told me, "You'll know when to say when."
Yeah.
And it happens to everybody. Yeah. And I'm getting ready for that whole show, and I'm like, it just wasn't happening. And I think I got 5th in that show, and worst place, and I always did good there. Either won, first, second, third, something like that. And I knew, a couple of the young guys got past me, and I always told myself when the young guys started beating me, you gotta know when to say when. And I went back to the hotel room after the show, and I told Trish, I said, I'm done. She goes, getting ready for the show. I had no plans of that being my last show, and but I just knew. I got done and went to the room and told her, and she goes, "You sure?" I said, 100%. And they were really trying to get me to go to Olympia. They want to have this big retirement thing on the stage and all that, and I'm like, I'm good. I don't need that. So
You're not one to be overly celebrated anyway. You not that guy.
I never do it for that, you know.
Yeah.
So I think if you bodybuild, you don't do bodybuild for yourself. You know, everybody's got their own
Yeah.
motivations. You know, I wanted to be champion. That's what, and I saw bodybuilding as a way to improve my life and improve my family's life. And I want to be the champ. And that's why I did it. I didn't do it to be famous or rich or those other things. So,
Yeah.
and,
When you and I met, I think what separated you from the pack for me, obviously the fucking trainer, right? You crazy fucker. Anybody who's grown up, you know, watching any type of older version videos of you, DVDs and videos you were pumping out, shit, bro. Because I came from Dorian Yates's era, right?
Yeah.
So that was the guy everybody trying to emulate in the gyms. Everybody wanted to be that most hardcore, training baggies and rags. And then next thing, I don't know, you're a few years older than me, but still, I remember getting the Metroflex videos. You know, I mean, whether it was by the Olympias, whether it was Ronnie's videos, then it was yours. And like, who the fuck is this guy? You got to remember now. Let's go back in time, and then there was no internet, right?
Yeah.
DVDs were relatively new. Internet was relatively new. I'm sorry, DVDs were coming in, and then your first DVD came. What was the name of the DVD again?
Train Insane.
Train Insane. I should know that, bro. Fuck
Or
me.
Unchained. Unchained was first.
With the chains,
Yeah,
yes,
Unchained, yeah.
and then Train Insane. That's right.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, and then when you put that on and say, hey, yeah, fuck it, you know, you could have been in another room, or you could walk into a gym, and I was playing to this fucking day. Then still play, by the way. You know, you can go anywhere around the world, they're still playing. And there's you just going absolutely ballistic. And of course, I never had the chance to meet you at that point in time. Still in fucking UK. When I had the chance to meet you, one of the things that stood out for me was there's branches. I would say such an interesting character, because there's the guy in the gym that nobody can fucking touch, and then there's the guy that's outside of the gym that, for friends, you make yourself very available, right? And we done a guest posing in California. Do you remember this?
I remember this.
For Paco.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And we were hanging out. It's the first time I was like, this is so fucking cool, because it was just me and you. We spent the whole time together. And I was like fucking fanboy, you know, asking every type of question, probably annoying as fuck. But more, I remember us talking about the business side of things. You had just purchased some land. And I remember one thing you told me like then. You were saying this, like, Flax, you got to put yourself into a position where bodybuilding pays for bodybuilding, life pays for life. And I remember that's something you said to me then, and it still sticks out to me now. And I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, you say, well, I've not touched my Muscle Tech contract in a very long time. And for somebody who's living literally paycheck to paycheck at that point in time, I couldn't fathom how that could work, because you had all these other businesses. You had that was the pack and ship business,
Yeah,
and you had
logistics company. Yeah,
logistics.
Yep. And
Yeah.
gym,
Yeah. Tell us about that, man.
So I grew up. I'm gonna give you a little backstory
Please.
on this. So some of you probably I've talked about this on maybe one other podcast, maybe or something. But I grew up very poor. I grew up in West Texas, and I grew up on a cattle ranch. And so anyway, my father left us when I was 14 years old or something. Well, my brother and sister were already out of the house. They were much older, and just me and my mom.
Oh, wow.
I'm a boy, 14 years old, and we lost the ranch. And there's no way we could keep it up, and it was a big place, and about 1,000 acres. So we lost it, and we had nothing.
Yeah.
And it was me and my mom in a car, and some luggage, clothes, and stuff like that
In the car.
and so that was our home for a minute. And she got a job and at like a Whataburger fast food place. I got a job at a car wash detailing cars, and so we saved up a little money, got a place, got an apartment, and just started working from there on. And I think when you grow up, your childhood has a huge effect on the man or the woman that you become. And you come from a bad situation, you either become just like that, or you say, fuck that, I'm not living like that. And I looked at it, and me and Johnny had this conversation in depth, and because he had a different but same type of story. And I told myself, I said, I'm not gonna live like this, and my kids aren't gonna grow up the way I grew up. And so And I saw bodybuilding. I was introduced to it about when we moved to the Dallas Fort Worth area. I never seen a bodybuilder, and met a guy. Turned out to be Ronnie Coleman's workout partner, and
Right guy to meet.
yeah. So Ronnie was so amateur, and he took me to Metroflex and met Brian, and I couldn't even afford a membership. It's like $19 a month, and he said, I told him I was going to do this show, and so he said, let me look at you. So I posed. He said, tell you what, kid. I told him, I said, I'll work this off. I said, I just want to train this summer here and do the show at the end of the summer. And I said, I'll take the trash out, clean the place up, whatever. And he said, let me look at you. So I posed. He said, I'll tell you what, kid, you train here all summer. Don't worry about paying. You win the show, you don't got to pay. If you lose, you're going to work it off. But that was 30-something years ago, and I still haven't bought a membership. And he trained me with Ronnie that summer, and this guy, Mark.
Yeah.
And
you trained with Ronnie?
Yeah. I was a kid. Yeah, a lot. And wow. So I won that show. I think that right after that, Ronnie won the Universe, got his pro card, and Ronnie started his career. And, it's one of those things, there was no internet back then. All we had was magazines. And so the information really wasn't available. And
3 months behind.
Yeah. And so as far as just basic stuff like nutrition and training and all this stuff, you really didn't know if you're doing it right or not. You thought you were. Yeah. A lot of it was like bro science. And so we're watching Ronnie, and Ronnie's just climbing up and doing better and better. And I'm like, well, I'm doing the same thing, so we must be doing something right. And I won a bunch of shows as a kid. And at 18 years old, I won the Teenage National Championship. And I told myself, I'm like, this is going to be my ticket. By then, Ronnie was on his way. And I'm like, he did it. Why can't I do it? Yeah. And I'm like, this is going to be my ticket out of this shit. And so I loved it. And I saw, if I would have known then how hard it was to get in those top spots, because those are the only guys that really do well. And I don't know if I think being naive when you're young is a blessing. Because,
I agree.
Because if you really knew how hard it was and what the climb and journey was ahead of you, you might not do it. Yeah. But you don't know, because I see Ronnie, man. I know him. I've been training with him. Fuck, he's a fucking dude. And I'm like, if he did it, fuck, I'm gonna do it too. And, so, you don't know. You're an 18-year-old kid. You're like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna do that. And I just went to work. So, but I was also realistic, and I worked my way through school, and I worked 3 jobs, and miserable time of my life. I didn't get to compete during that time because I couldn't, and I was too busy with the school, the working, to support myself, pay for school, all this, and so when I got out, I started pursuing the bodybuilding thing again, and I turned pro. I was 26 at won the national championship, and by that point, I already had my own business, because even after I turned pro and I started doing very well, it could be over any time. Any one of those injuries I had probably should have stopped my career, honestly. And the quad thing, I really beat the odds on that deal.
I don't even know anybody else has done that.
And so my thing was like, even if you're super successful, bodybuilding is a very short period of time, right? I competed for 15 years as a pro. In the whole grand scheme of a normal lifespan, that's a very short period of time. So what are you gonna do after that, And so I was never gonna let myself be in a position I was as a kid with my mom. And so that's why I always had a business, had a job. I was smart. Like I remember that conversation I had with you in California. I told you, I said, the prize money, I said, I'll never touch. I put it all up in investment. Yeah. And I said, the contract money, most of that I saved too, because I always had a business that I based my bills off of, my living expenses off of, and everything else then put back and save and invest. And that way, when you're done, you got something to show for it.
But imagine being, what was I, 21, 22 when I met you then? And hearing that from you, most of these other guys were kind of like making money, spending it on cars, fucking rims for their cars, just stupid investments. And you were like, no. Blue collar, a very similar upbringing, my upbringing. You've actually branches been to my house in Wales. Yeah. Give him a Welsh rugby jersey. And I've met my mum and dad. So, the place I come from, very steel oriented town. But again, same thing where I wanted to work my way up, naive, wherever. I came to the US, slept on the sofa, knew 1 or 2 people. And I think the fact that I was doing something that I loved, right? I wasn't standing on the fucking, on the rugby field, freezing my ass off, waiting for the ball. This was me getting into the gym, putting myself through a workout, fucking putting myself through a workout, and then loving the process. Same thing as you said too. Didn't have the knowledge of, nutrition or anything like that, because I didn't meet Neil till later on, but these flex magazines became my Bible, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if you noticed this back then, but they never posted diets back then. They just kind of hid that shit away. They always talked about certain things and training, but never talked about diets. So if you found something, you're like, oh my God, this is the new thing now. And then you look, somebody write an article about how turkey was the new fucking diet. So then I'd fucking eat turkey all the time. But again, these guys now that are on the internet, they have no fucking clue, right? You know.
My first diet, when I was training over there, they took a freaking back of an envelope, right?
Oh,
and the dude took I had it for years. I think I still got it. I just got to find it.
Oh, that's great.
I think Brian or somebody, he wrote down, what to eat on the back of this thing, this piece of scrap paper, flipped it to me. I'm like, okay. Right. And you did it and it worked. You won.
Yeah.
And so it's like, was there any science behind that?
Yeah.
He had experience, so he knew. But it was just, and I just followed it to a T.
Yes, I know.
So
I got my own stories too. I think I've got the same piece of paper that was written on and cut up, and I put it into a notebook, and then it becomes like second nature then because you're doing the same thing all the time. But until I had that information, it was kind of like, oh, don't show anybody. I'm going to give you this. It's like a fucking diet. You kidding me? It's like top secret. This and always been in Wales too. Anything that came over from the US, and who the fuck are you going to believe, right? It's like, oh, I'm friends with so-and-so. This came from him. You get this diet. It's like, oh, really? This came from Ronnie Coleman? Oh, fuck, okay. That's the shit that we had in Wales. It's like the passed down, probably started off by saying, like, I think this is what Ronnie done. Then that was given to that person. Then that person, this is from Ronnie. Then it's like fucking 10 people down the line, and then it's turned Chinese,
it's the Holy Grail. By the time you get it.
So. Yes, it's like they came down with Moses. But Matt, I know we touched on a few things now already, but the mindset is a big thing for me as well as it is for you. And do you know when you were competing and you and Trish found out you were having faith, how much of an impact did that have?
That changes everything. Best thing that happened to me. To be a bodybuilder, especially a top level professional bodybuilder, it makes you a very selfish and self-centered person. Even if you're not that way naturally, if that's not who you are, you become that way because it's all about you. Yeah. It's about your training, your diet, your nutrition, your cardio, your tanning, your posing, your me. You take all the time, and you don't give any or very little back. And in a relationship, that's not a good thing. And plus my wife was a top level, competitor also.
Trish, incredible.
And, she did very well in the Olympia and the Arnold, and top 3 finishes, and so now you got another person who's doing the same thing, and that's a recipe for disaster. It ain't always sunshine and rainbows, and let's just be real. And for her, she always put me first, and she gave a lot, and I think sometimes at the expense of her own success. And I asked her one time, I said, why do you put me first? You're getting ready for the Olympia too. And she says, well, it doesn't make sense for me to put me first. She goes, you get 10th place and you make more money than if I win. And she goes, you got the contracts, you got all this stuff. And she goes, we're together, right? And we're one. This is the team. She goes, so let's do what's best for the team.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever expressed to her really how much that meant to me and expressed because, you got a good woman. And so, because she put me first. And so a lot of my success I have, I think it's because of her. I know it is. So, I owe a lot of that to her. And so when we got pregnant, I really wouldn't want to have kids. We got married, and I'm like, I'm kids, man. I'm like, you crazy? Bunch of little crumb snatching rugrats. I'm like, no way, bro. I'm out. And, so I'm changing diapers and crying. I'm like, hell no, I'm out. And so, of course, Trish wanted to have kids. And then, we can see who won that argument. And they get you. They always get you. And,
it's hard to say no, though.
That's the problem.
Because it's
got something you want.
You can't say no.
Yes. So even if you don't want to, you're still going to break down.
Oh, so. No, yes. Read through the lines.
So she got pregnant, and she had faith, man. That was the best day of my life.
Yeah,
and it still is. I don't think anything in my life has ever happened that beats seeing your own child born. And like I can't. You as a father understand that. And if I'd have told you this before you had had your first child, you won't understand it. Any father out there, I think, understands this. Is
Yeah.
when you have your own child and you hold in your arms for the first time, it's instant love. It's an unconditional love that never change.
Yes, it's a feeling and an expression. You can say love, but then I think you truly know what it means then, right? Because I think it also goes full circle too, where you get more. For me and my parents too, I was like, man, I was a fucking asshole. I'm sure you had the same feeling when you had faith with, maybe you had a different feeling with your mum, right?
100%. It opened your eyes to so much, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't think about myself first.
Yeah.
I thought about that little girl and my wife before I thought about myself.
Yeah.
And as far as bodybuilding went, it pushed me to be. It made me a better bodybuilder. It made me a better businessman. It made me a better man.
Yeah.
And I changed a lot. And because I had a family now that was dependent on me, and I had a responsibility to take care of that little girl and raise her. And I just want her to be better than I was, just be a better person.
What changed, do you think, most?
It softens you up having a daughter, for sure. 100%. I mean, everybody knows Branch is this freaking maniac in the gym.
You still are, Branch. Don't worry. I'll stroke your ego, bro. You still are.
It ain't nothing like it used to be, but it's the kinder, gentler version of Branch. I remember we're in Pittsburgh and we're training after I retired, and you looked at me and the dudes were all cutting up, and he goes, mate, like this would have never happened back in the day. No. I said, this is the kinder, gentler version of Branch.
Fuck.
And you looked at me and you go, I fucking think I like the old Branch better. Nah, man, when you have a daughter, man, it softens you up. Yeah. And I think I'm a big believer God doesn't ever give you something you can't handle. And I truly believe that. And I think sometimes you don't know what you need, but he knows. And so he puts out on your plate. Yeah. So it's been the biggest blessing in my life. Yeah. So I wish I had 3 more.
Yeah. I remember we spoke in Cheesecake Factory not so long ago, and you were like, if you can, do it. Yeah, I hadn't had the second one. I hadn't had Maxon at that point in time. And I was like, all right, Branch, I won't pull out. No, but it was, because I was still competing. I was like, because listen, you know what it's like, having a child and the mentality and trying to be the best. And yes, you've become different. You've had to, even if you try and fight it, it's not going to happen. No.
If you fight it and you win that fight, then you're going to be not a good bodybuilder.
You're a fucking asshole too.
You're an asshole. Yeah. And if you don't put yourself first, you're going to get beat by guys who do put themselves first. Yeah. And so it's a having a kid, it was a hard balance for me because I had to put it wasn't going to be any other way. I put my child and my family first. But the flip side of that, it motivated me even more to be a better bodybuilder. Yeah. So it's kind of that. And so, the flips, going back to what we talked about being injured in that 2012 Arnold. So Trish was pregnant with Faith when I got injured. Faith was born February 6th. 3 weeks later, I won that Arnold Classic. So that was the best month of my life.
Yeah, it's all 1 month. So, yeah, geez Louise. So, wow. Yeah, one incredible feeling of euphoria, 2 highs. Obviously, I know Faith, that the Arnold Classic win is the Arnold Classic win, and obviously the storyline goes that, but then Faith being born. Yeah. It's like 2 different kinds of, spiritual feelings too, right?
Yeah, it was the Arnold, even as much as that meant to me, like I just told that story and all that, didn't compare to what my daughter being born was. I'd give up everything I want for that girl, so there's no comparison, as a father, it's that unconditional love you have.
It's a different feeling, because again, I can look at these trophies as you can look at yours and you go, yeah, I went through a lot of hardship for that. Nobody knows. This happened, never talked about it. And when I lifted that up, I was like, oh man, I was on top of the world. And then you think, when your child was born, what was that feeling like?
Yeah, I ain't even close.
That ain't top of the world. Close, nah, that was a fucking goosebump kind of, unbelievable feeling. Because again, it's just like, it's like you created that. Yeah. And it's just unbelievable. Yeah. Yeah. Your DNA is in this little one, and this human being that you've created now is codependent on you. And regardless of how hard and how tough you are, and fucking diaper changes soften you up fast.
I remember the first time I had Faith by myself.
Yeah.
And Trish had run to the store or something, and my boy Jay, you know Jay, right?
Jay,
Jay Moore, and he calls me, and Faith is screaming or something, and or she starts screaming when I'm on the phone with him, and I go, and I put him on speakerphone, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "Man, I'm changing her diaper." He goes, "Man, you wiping her?" He said something like, "Man, you wiping her ass, man? Fuck, that's gross." And I'm thinking, that's my girl, man. I'm like, I'm gonna go let her lay in her own stuff, you know,
Yeah.
on feces, you know. I'm like, of course I'm cleaning her up, dude. That's my freaking daughter.
Yeah.
You know, she's just like a few days old or something, whatever she was, and I'm like, dude, you don't get it because you don't got a kid. I go, when you have a kid, you'll get it.
Yeah.
And so it just everything changes.
It's a blessing.
That's the first diaper I ever changed in my life, and I'm like,
yeah, I'm trying to
even, when it's yours, you don't even.
I don't even know if I got any fucking manual. Ali talked me through it, but
I didn't even held a baby, right? My friends that have babies, like here, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll hold that thing. I don't want that. Like, keep that critter away from me. I don't want nothing around that thing.
Bring him back when he's 14. I'll take him hunting. I'll change him a real man.
My friend had a baby 6 months before Faith, and we're at the hospital. And here, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. He's like, man, you're about to have one, dude. So you need to. Yeah. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
I know. I can relate though, man, because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do it right. Hold the baby right. It's like, there's no right or wrong. There's no manual. You can read every fucking book going, but you just got to live the life and go through it and learn.
I told Trish, somebody we were talking, and I go, man, dude, I've freaking had puppies. I've had baby horses, colts. Like, how hard can it be? And she's looking at me like, seriously?
You just compared the birth of a child to a puppy and a horse. Oh my God, bro. But yeah, it's true though. I mean, that's the life you've lived, right?
Yeah.
So it's you know, we can all laugh and say, you know, whatever else. But you have created this environment for yourself growing up and be surrounded by nothing but the blue collar ethics and the work integrity you've had to become this champion. And all of a sudden, life happens. Life happens, and all these new exposures and all these new, you know, fucking elements that have come to your life that you never anticipated, because you have been bodybuilding since like you said, since you were a teenager, right? This is your way of getting out of poverty, or getting out of the rut, or whatever you're in, and really developing yourself into the athlete you become, the businessman you've become, and you know, along them lines now, life has taken course, and you and Trish have got a beautiful daughter. How old is Faith now?
She's 10. She'll be 11 in February.
That's so crazy for me, man.
It was fast on it.
Yeah, mine's 7. Yeah, and I look at her and I'm like, wow, life doesn't slow down for nothing. It really puts perspective on things too, because I look at her and I go, wow, I started having a lot of thoughts about doing certain things. I'm like, here I am, still fucking thinking about it 7 years later. Get your shit together. It's a different mindset now. I kind of, now that I'm retired, because I felt that bodybuilding, I think bodybuilding really doesn't allow you, as much as, no matter how busy you are, it doesn't allow you to truly maximize a lot of the opportunities that present themselves to you. You know, yes, you can control your environment by saying, it's like, okay, I'm going to invest in this, I'm going to do that. But really, it's all tailored towards you not missing a workout, you not missing a meal, you being able to do these businesses and shit like that, right? So your logistics business obviously was encompassing the bodybuilding. All the other things that you were doing, you had the gym too. I remember you had an incredible personal training gym, bro. That was fucking badass.
I had a personal training gym there in South Lake for a number of years, and then Trish got married, and we opened up a freight company, a logistics company, and we had that for 10 years, and we sold that about 6 years ago, about 6 years ago. Damn. And so we've always worked, always worked outside of bodybuilding, and because if I sit around all day, like there's guys, we know guys. They bodybuild, they text, they watch Sports Center, they play video games,
PlayStation,
and PlayStation bullshit, and that's all they do.
They're so busy.
Yeah, and I'm like, if I did that, it'd be bad. And so I'm just not that kind of person. And and like I said, I always knew that it was going to come to an end one day. Either you get hurt, you just start not doing well, or you get old. And we all get old. So and let's just be real, man. When you're in your 40s, you ain't going to beat them freaking 25, 30-years. That's just the way it is. There's a few freaks out there like Dexter. Yeah. But that's 1 in 10 million.
Yeah. When I got beginning of this year, and I made the announcement for a time, and you hit me up. You said it's the best thing you've made, best decision you've done. And it was nice to get, like, I would say, messages from yourself and many other top guys that I've looked up to, and actually come up behind, right? And you know, ask questions. Like I said earlier, it's gone full circle now. And you're saying to me, on the rise, do this, and then on the retirement, it's like, good job, good time. Don't think about going back, right?
Yeah.
Again, you paved the path for a lot of the things that I and many others have done. So for me to you, man, it's been great to follow your career and see you not only be the best bodybuilder in the world, you know, and be respected globally, because we've traveled around the world. It's incredible to see the fan base you have, made. But then be the business guy too, which when I segue into this incredible company guy, Wicked Cuts, which I've been able to sample periodically throughout the years, because you used to send me stuff, then you stopped sending me stuff, but it's okay. Incredible company though, man. Beef jerky. I never thought I would put beef jerky and branch one together, but then I thought to myself, fucking hell, this goes hand in hand. So how did that come about?
Well, first I want to say, it's been a privilege to see you grow up as a bodybuilder and have the career you had and become a legend in your own right, you know, the sport. So that's been an honor to sit back and witness that and be part of it to a certain extent. And then see not only beyond that, to see you grow from a young, I want to say a boy, to a man, and a family man and businessman, and you know, probably I'm gonna go out here on a limb and probably the greatest 212 champion we'll ever have. Thank you. And so that's been an honor and a privilege to witness all that. So,
my man, thank you, bro.
So, but as far as Wicked Cuts goes, the story on that. So Scott James.
Should I Scott?
Yeah. So you guys that know Scott. Scott was the founder and owner of BSN. Him and his partner Chris, and they started out of their garage basically in South Florida way back when, and they grew up to be one of the top 3 largest supplement companies in the world.
Incredible job.
And sold it for a couple $dollars back in the day, and
yeah,
couple nickels, and then we were talking, and I think we were on a plane, and he said, he goes, hey, I'd always want to work with you. He said, but you know, you were always with Muscle Tech or whoever back in the day, and he said, I said, just didn't work out. He says, but I've got a couple ideas I want to run by you. So we got back in town. I said, well, let's go to lunch and talk about it. We get back to town, and so he called me up, and we went to lunch and had a meeting. He said, I thought he wanted to do something again because his non-compete clause, I think, was just about up.
Yeah,
and so I thought he was thinking about making lightning strike twice. And he said, no, let's do a beef jerky company. And I just sat there and I'm like, I didn't know what to say. I'm like, I'll just go beef jerky. He goes, yeah. He goes, think about this. He goes, supplements, bodybuilding supplements appeal to like this small little segment of society. I mean, how many people buy supplements in the whole? 5% maybe of the population. You know, it's not much, I promise you. Not too many people are buying pre-workouts and stuff like that, you know. And, you know, there's a lot of people, but percentage-wise, it's very small. So he said, everybody likes beef jerky. He goes, we can do different flavors like chicken and turkey and all this stuff. And he goes, that's like, you know, 89% of the population eats jerky at one point or another, or a road trip, or they eat it regular or whatever. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, I don't know a damn thing about beef jerky. I like it, but I eat it. Let's learn. So for me, it was a new challenge. And that's what I think turned me on more to it was a new challenge. I want to prove I could be successful on something outside of the bodybuilding fitness world. So we launched in the fitness world, you know, because that was the low-hanging fruit. We had knew all the people, the store owners, all these things, and we started there, and then we blown it up. So I think, I don't know, I lost track of how many thousands of locations we're in now across the country, but it's going very well. And we just had a meeting for 23, and best thing I've ever done.
Good.
Best thing I've ever done.
Well,
So
I will say the difference, and I'm not blowing smoke out your ass. I would say a beef jerky joke, but I won't. That is the best beef jerky I've ever had in my life. I'm not blowing smoke. I mean, I've had that stuff at the airport, and everybody grabs the emergency beef jerky. I want to give their name.
Actually, we're at the smoothie shop here at McCarran.
Yeah.
So we're in the Vegas airport. So that was kind of cool. So when we got in there the first time,
You're in
McCarran.
When did you get in there?
Before right after COVID.
I fly out there all the time. I should fucking know this. In fact, I don't even normally buy beef jerky unless I'm going for, you know, I've normally got my meal on me. I bought it. This is why I'm so kind of updated to this stuff. I bought beef jerky last week when I came from, when I fly from Mexico. I fly from San Diego over here. I was like, shit, it was early in the morning. There was nothing in this store. And I looked, I was like, okay, I'll grab this and some protein, still bodybuilding mentality, try and get my fucking 40 grams of protein in one meal, 3 with my 2 meals a day. And I bought this beef jerky and I was like, oh my God, fucking hell. And I got British teeth, right, in the back, fucking American fake ones in the front. So these are good in the back, right? They're not going anywhere. They might break sometimes, but not anytime soon. But that fucking beef jerky, I was like, I'm going to break my teeth. Fucking, this is incredible. I don't know what you guys done. You don't have to leave the secrets out here, but you obviously marinating it, and you also is it like a drying process or something?
Yeah, so it's the way we cook it. It's not gonna give away any secrets here, but the process we go through to cook it is a little bit different.
Yeah.
And so my thing is too is me and Scott talked, and we want something that was different. We had to distinguish ourselves because there's a lot of competition in that market. And I want something that was like, we call it like the tender side of jerky.
Yeah.
So I wanted the beef jerky to be like a filet mignon.
Done a great job.
And we came with our best seller, maple bacon. We have several different flavors of bacon.
Yeah.
It's actually strips of bacon that we've made into jerky.
Is it over there?
Yeah, we have to get that one on the end there, maple bacon. I'll give it to you in a minute. It's so good.
Players, can you grab me that maple bacon? If you don't mind. I haven't tried this.
It's
I
so
want to
good.
try it. By the way, he's telling me signs in my fucking teleprompter. It's like
On your website?
he's on the website
And I'm
at the very
looking
end.
up Teriyaki turkey?
At the very
Oh
end,
my God.
right there. There we go.
So that right there is so good. One bite, it'll make you slap your mom.
Can I try one right
Yeah,
now?
yeah, of
Is that
course.
sure?
Yeah.
So we have got the Premier Jerky Old Fashioned Maple, handcrafted with Premier uncured bacon. Oh, I'm gonna give it a go now.
One bite, it'll make you slap your mama.
I'm doing this for Branch Warren and my taste buds. This is live, guys. Oh my God! Do you know what? This is like,
Real bacon.
yeah.
That's what I said. It slices. It's like kind of bacon.
I don't know
It's
if
like
you
stuff
can
you fry up for breakfast.
Look at this, guys. This is incredible. I'm going to take this top piece. And for every on Spotify listening, I apologize for chomping in your mouth right now. Chomping in your ear. Oh, fuck off, Branch. Try this. Take them fucking Invisaligns out and put this in your mouth. How many gay guys have said that to you? I'll give you some later. Anyway, Branch. Holy shit, man. This is fucking incredible.
Yeah, that's our number one. So it's that one came out, and I don't I'm not gonna say we were the first one to do bacon jerky, but I think we've probably been the most successful with it. And
It's got great facts too, nutritional facts. It's not like
it's not, you wouldn't diet on it, but
No, but-
it's not terrible for what
No.
it is. So
great job. Seriously, I'm not blowing smoke. I know you're my guest and everything, but I probably wouldn't have done it live on the air if it was somebody else. But as it's you and everything you live for, and you're saying how good it is, I was like, just keep talking. I'm going to fucking eat one more piece. Not only am I hungry, I'm working here, but this is actually fucking really good.
yeah, so we started this thing off, and it was a challenge. I learned
Fuck's good.
a lot of stuff about jerky and about distribution, things like that, and it's been a challenge. And Scott, thank God, he's without him it'd never be possible.
Yeah.
So it's been a great opportunity, and totally loved it, and looking forward to a really good 23 where things are going. So
When did it start up again, Branch?
so in May will be 4 years.
Oh my God, I remember you guys started this too. Great job. I'm still fucking eating. Sorry, guys. Branch, you have been with Gasp now for how many years?
2008.
Mm,
So what was that 15 years?
incredible, man.
So,
That's such a great partnership because
we done.
Skull
Skull.
inside stories. But yeah, you have been with Gasp. I was with Gasp obviously at one point in time. I still would have loved to have done more stuff with you on Gasp. But you were there, and to be honest, mate, I'll say it. Fuck it. If it wasn't for Branch Warren, I think Gasp would be as big as what it is. And that's me saying it as your friend, but also saying it as an athlete who also owns brands and brands people. You took that company because of the raw, rugged look, back to front, fucking train, the hardcore training style,
Well, Gas
and you
was
blew it up.
Gas was a hardcore training brand, and we had better bodies than Gas. Gas was more, I don't want to say mainstream, but it was more of a fitness brand.
I agree.
And Gas was a hardcore, bodybuilding brand, and so they, Per Bernal, the photographer, he knew Michael and all those guys, and so he introduced us because they were looking for somebody to. They were a regional brand. There's a few countries in the Nordics, in Northern Europe there, and they want to go global. Michael had this plan to take this brand and go global, and he wanted to go to the States, and so it was perfect timing. We came on board, and as I grew and had my career took off, it was a perfect timing because in 2008, when my career just started to really skyrocket, and the company coincided with his vision, and so we both grew together, and it's just been a match made in heaven for the most part. Michael, I know I consider him. He's not a boss. He's my friend. We came to Vegas here back about a year, and it's him and his wife, me and Trish, and we came out here and we worked, but basically it was kind of a vacation too. Hanging out. So it's just been a blessing, and now I'm more involved than ever. With Gas Better Bodies. So my role from athlete has evolved into more of a business role. And very much involved with them, and so I don't have any days off. So between Wicked and Gasp and the other things I do, so but I wouldn't have it any other way.
What is a day off, Branch?
Day off.
Wait, would you try to find an off day if you had the chance? You'd find something to do, right? Because that's
for sure.
That's how you are.
Yeah,
You're not
I can't sit still.
I can't see you being the fucking slipper and pajamas type of guy. Maybe on Christmas Day.
Christmas Day, I usually get out of the house because all the family's there, and I can't. There's only so much I can take. So if I can, I'll slip out to the farm and go hunt.
Shit.
And speaking of that, I took my daughter hunting for the first time last weekend, the weekend before last. She got her first deer, so that was pretty cool.
No way.
So yeah, she got it, and then she's like, "Dad, can we have it for Christmas dinner?" And,
no way.
She's like, "I'm like done." So I told Trish, I was like, I took it to the butcher and got it processed. It'll be ready when I get back. And I said, we're having this for Christmas dinner because Faith wants to be the one that brought home the meat. So
brought home the food.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
That's crazy. Because again, listen, there's a lot of, hoopla about hunting and stuff like that. But let's not beat around the bush. You hunt to eat. You don't fucking hunt for.
All those years I competed, I died primarily off of buffalo, bison, and elk. So I'd go to Wyoming every year. I'd get a bison, and if I got an elk tag, I'd get an elk. If I was fortunate enough to get one, and then that's what I dieted on for the Olympia and the Arnold. So you can't get a better meat.
No.
And there's no hormones, no preservatives. It's super low in fat, high in protein, and plus it tastes good to me. I think buffalo and elk are probably the two of the best.
Fucking mean as hell.
So
yeah. So here we go, guys. Listen, he hunted his own food for the Olympia. Fuck the Liver King and all this bullshit. This guy is like going out there.
I never said I was natural either, so fuck it.
When you and Faith went hunting for the first time and she got to the, was it an emotional moment for you?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think as a father, I think you understand that. My father taught me how to hunt at a very young age. I mean, when I was 5 years old, he started taking me with him, and I grew up in the country, and we always had game. I mean, whether it was quail or ducks or deer or wild hogs or whatever, and he wasn't a trophy hunter. He loved to hunt, but it was we hunted for meat, and so I remember I shot it when I got my first little 22. I shot a possum one time, and I'm like like ha ha ha, and he goes, "Go get it." I go, "What do you mean go get it?" He goes, "You're gonna eat it."
Jeez.
I'm like, "Dad, that's like just a big giant rat," and he's like, "You don't kill stuff if you don't eat it." He made me clean this thing, skin it out, and he told my mom to cook it.
Wow.
And she's like, "Are you serious?" He goes, "Oh yeah, you're cooking it."
Can you even eat possum? I don't know.
Oh yeah, she fried
it.
A little bit she like fried it up.
Oh yeah, then fried it. Fried, right?
And it was the nastiest, greasiest thing I'd ever had.
Oh.
And I'm like, it cured me though. I was like, all right, I get it. If you don't eat it, you don't shoot it. That was a good lesson to learn.
It was yeah.
So he made me eat it, and it was like there's no if you eat it, you get an ass whooping. So but that's I got the message. But I've always hunted. And growing up where I did, there was I tell people there's two things to do: hunt and drink beer.
Yeah.
I didn't drink, so I hunted.
Yeah.
So for Faith, I took her out, and she got her first deer, and we went through the whole thing. And I remember my dad taking me, when I was young like her, and getting my first one, and so she was super excited, and then just the whole process of it, teaching her how to clean it, and
oh really,
and drag it back to the the truck, and I picked it up, carried it out. And my dad did the same thing. And so I remember sitting back on the way home, like, well, pretty cool moment. Only a father can understand.
Yeah, I understand that. That's why I asked the question, because I know obviously there's a relatable and transitional moment there, right? That that hunting for you would be something else for me and my dad growing up, right?
Even a knife I took with me was my father's knife, and so I took it with me on that hunt, and I hadn't taken that knife in years, and so it was just
symbolic moment.
Those moments. So.
Nice, man. I like to hear this, and it's obviously it's the chapters of life that we're now experiencing, right, after bodybuilding. And you also taken me on a hunt, not in the same, maybe not at the same moment, but
It wasn't quite as emotional.
It was fucking emotional for me when I was trying to chase after you and Dorian, and fucking branches through my face. I remember running through, oh my God, in the fucking pitch black.
All right, guys. So imagine this. So it's at nighttime. We're hunting wild boars. Okay, we got the dogs, right? We got the bay dogs and got the pit bull, all with his Kevlar and all the stuff on him. And so we're rolling, and we got GPSs on the dogs. Well, the dogs they get one, go after one. So we drive as far as we can, then we jump off on foot. And this thing bays up in a bunch of briars. So I had Dorian Yates with me and Flex. Well, Dorian went first. So we get this thing bait up. We get in there, grab it. Dorian goes in there for the kill and freaking knifes it and kills it. And Flex is like, holy fuck, mate. He goes, that's fucking badass. Let's get another one. Can we get another one? I'm like, fuck it. Let's go see if we can get another one. And unfortunately, we didn't get one. We couldn't catch another one.
Fucking Dorian.
But at that moment, that was the most excited I'd ever seen Flex. It was I ain't seen him get that excited when he won the Olympia. So it was just cool. So very cool time.
It was crazy because I didn't really know what was going on. I think also during that time there was you put a couple of things out of you hunting, right? But when you live in this world, that's like, okay, turn up on Tuesday, I'm doing this. Somebody films it, but then when it goes back, this is just fucking blown up viral videos of branch hunting. And to you, it's just, that's the fucking Tuesday, right? Yeah. So when this happened, I was like, bro, so we were talking, you were like, you want to come out and stay with me? I don't know if it was guest posing or I was guest posing for your show.
That's right.
Branch Warren Classic,
right.
yes.
Right. Yep.
And you give Dorian like a Lifetime Achievement Award, and you had me guest pose. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk about your show because your show is fucking incredible. What you and Trish have done. But you took me hunting, and I remember like knowing a little bit, but also kind of shying away from the too much information and watching the videos because I wanted to experience this live. And we went to your friend's house, we picked up the dogs, and then we drove out. We kept on driving and driving and driving. I remember we had to wake up very early in the morning, and then we didn't. Fucking hell, what was it?
When at night.
Get out at night, and then we got in early as the morning.
Yeah,
that's
we got
right.
in like at 4 in the morning.
4 or 5 in the morning, and then we went fucking trained at 11.
Yeah.
We trained shoulders at 11 o'clock.
Never miss a workout.
Never. I remember going to bed, and you were like, what time? Okay, Branch, what time we're training? I was like, oh, please say fucking 2 o'clock. Like, I'll be up at 11 o'clock, motherfucker. I don't know if you said motherfucker, but it sounded good for this part. And then you were up. Fucking remember you stirring. I think you knocked my door, and then we went down. We had Trish had made us a fucking feast. We were talking about the hunt and everything else. But the hunt itself, just to go back to that too, we were on quads. The guys were driving trucks, and like so much technology. The dogs had GPSs, and we were all looking at the GPS and like, oh, watch this, Flex. And then you just hear the dogs back, and they were like, you see them circling, and then you let the other set of dogs out. You get the other dogs back, but you have to get there fast. So it was me, Branch, Dorian Yates, and all Branch's guys too.
Brian, Chad.
Yeah, we were all belted up, and we were running and fucking fat like forever. But when you're in that moment and your adrenals are going and your heart is pumping, like I wasn't tired. I was like, let me get there. And it was me and Dorian fucking trying to take over. I remember you said, let Dorian go first. So he was running through. We jumped over barbed wire fences, fucking torn up, but you don't give a shit about that until after the fact. Yeah. Then we were running through these brambles and stuff, and the guys in front were holding the branches back. So then Dorian is supposed to then grab that branch and hold it back for me. No, Dorian just fucking runs through. Smack. The guy leaves, goes, whapa, on my face. But again, it was a great time. You're like running with very limited light. The moon is bright as hell. I remember that night, which gave us incredible light.
You can see.
Right? And we had flashlights and stuff, but Yeah, there's something special about going hunting with branch water, and I can say I done it because a lot of it's kind of like synonymous, branch water and hunting. Like a lot of people say, oh, it comes up in conversation. Yeah, I went hunting with branch. You went hunting with branch? Do you use knives? It's so fucking crazy, bro. Everybody's like branch and knives and hogs. So yeah, thank you for that experience. It was a great one. And then we went and trained a couple hours later, and again, I think I was still on the adrenal high of.
You weren't that tired.
Right now, we went right around and we passed out. And I also remember this too. You probably food for thought for you. I remember sitting at the table, and you had one of the dogs that we took hunting. R.I.P. Right, the same as mine. But you're like, Flex, you know, it's the first time anybody fed that dog off the table. I was like, oh shit, did I just feed the dog? Because the dog was sitting there, and I was eating like this, and this dog is an absolute monster. You know, it was, what was it? It was an
American Bulldog, yeah.
It was fucking huge. And it was a pup back then. You were still training it. Mm-hmm. This thing was massive, very obedient. He was sitting next to me, but the way he was sitting next to me looking at me, it looked like he'd been fed so many times. And I don't know, so I was eating. I think something fell off, off my fork, so it hit my lap, and I grabbed it, and I was like, oh, here we go. You're like, don't feed my dog again, bro. It's like, oh shit, we just went fucking hunting with hogs and knives. I was like, fuck, I know what this happens. Sorry, Branch. You went that bad. I just for playing bigger context, but
yeah, that was
no, nice. you were just like, hey, yeah, that dog's never been fed before. And I was like, and you said it the nicest way possible. I was like, oh shit, sorry, bro. But that's still fucking sad to me to this day. I'm like, oh shit. Because he was, even though he was a house dog, he wasn't a house dog too, right? Because you were training him.
He was, once he got fully trained, he had to be outside. And actually, right. When Faith was born, he was, mature, big, fully grown, and
killer.
He was an incredible hunting dog. But guys, everybody has American Bulldogs and Pit Bulls or something, and you have no idea what those dogs are capable of until you take one hunting. Like, holy crap, that's what they're for, and they love it. And but when Faith was born, had him in the backyard, and I caught him on the window looking at her, and he had that look in his eye because she's a few weeks old on the floor or something, and it bothered me so bad that I went and gave him to some of my guys I hunted with. I told Trish, I said, we can't take that chance, man. I said, I can't do it. And so he was an awesome dog. He loved Trish, and he'd come in the house, and guys would come in, and if he didn't know him, he'd go sit on her feet and just look at him. I'm like, yo, bro, is Max cool with me? I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
and so I told Trish, I said, I'd be out of town. We travel all the time. I go, just put Max in the house. I go, sure, I'll take a bullet for you. I go, he loves you. I go, he listens to me because he don't got a choice. I said, but he loves you. So it was funny. But,
right there, though, it just goes to show that change right there, because hunting was everything, right? At one point in time, then Faith comes along, and then you got hunting, that just the perspective right there, right?
Yeah.
Your daughter or hunting.
And I love that dog too, man.
Yeah,
He's an awesome dog, but you can't take that chance, man. Yeah. That's just, it was, and when I seen that look, the way he's looking at her through the window, I'm like, you're gone, tomorrow. And there's no, Trish was upset about it, but, because she loved that dog, but I'm like, I ain't taking that chance. I go, there's nothing around at my house, in my yard, my property is going to threaten my child. And I'm not taking that chance. That's that. So you got to talk to Guy. I don't know if I took him hunting. So I don't even want to tell the story because I'll mess it up, because letting him tell it is so much better.
Okay.
So,
and he'd probably overly dramatize everything too.
Yeah. So you got to let him. So it was good.
Okay.
So I almost got bit that day. So.
Oh, I'll have a part 2 with Guy. I brought Guy on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. But I mentioned earlier the Branch Warren Classic, and then I know that you have the activation that you have to take part in soon, so I want to keep you any longer than you've already have been here. But the Branch Warren Classic, how many shows now are you in on that?
15, I think.
Jesus.
Yeah. So 15. So
it's I know it's not just the Branch Warren Classic, because when I went there, I was blown away, and we're talking about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago.
It was more. I'm trying to think.
Really?
It's been more than that, dude. I was still competing.
Oh yeah, well, okay.
I retired in 16. So.
Yeah. So I went to your show, and I was like, why is there all these fucking kids here? What? And they'd all do it, and then you were like, yeah, well, after my show, I do the cheerleading. I got the cheerleading competition. I've got the BJJ stuff.
Midget wrestling.
It makes it,
Yeah, the
you
kids
try to
love
enter me in
shit,
that fucking
yeah.
thing. But you have all these different elements, and it truly is like Texas's version of the Arnold Classic.
Yeah, it is. It's not obviously not the biggest Arnold Classic, but that's kind of what I got my inspiration from. And I want to provide a platform where everybody could come, a family environment. Everybody could come, compete, bring their kids, and do whatever they. I realize not everybody wants to be a 250-pound pro bodybuilder. You know, you might want to be do CrossFit. You might be into jiu-jitsu. You might be a cheerleader. You might be a power lifter, strongman, whatever the case is. So over time, you know, we have arm wrestling. We have all these different events. I just added it to the event. Grew the expo, and my first show, I think we had 79 competitors. We had a power to meet that had like 19. Last year, we had 2,400 competitors, 2,400, and you know, a huge attendance, several thousand people in attendance, and I think we had nine different events. So it's grown quite a bit, and it's an all-day event down in Houston every year. It's June 24th this year, and then of course I have a show in Denver now, May 6th, and then April 15th is the Better Bodies Classic. So I've teamed up with the Houston show is the Gas Branch Run Classic, and now we're going to do the Better Bodies Classic in Dallas.
Is that new?
April 15th, yep.
Oh, congrats. So you got 3 shows. Right, so give me the dates again.
April 15th, Better Bodies Classic, Dallas, Texas. May 6th, the Branch Run Classic, Denver, in Denver. And I'm partnered with Dylan Armburst from Armburst Gym.
Great guy.
And then, of course, the Branch Run Classic, June 24th, down in Houston. So that's our 15th year for that one.
Wow. Yeah. And for the fans that may or may not know, or the ones that are long-term following me will know, Branch and Trish came out to my very first show, Flex Lewis Classic. Can't even finish it. Flex Lewis Classic. And a month before the show, our venue got cancelled. So we scrambled to find a venue basically anywhere. And we ended up going to Cookeville, Tennessee. And listen, thank you to everybody in Cookeville coming out to support. But we had a school venue. It was a college, great, you know, facility. And then they came to us a month before and said, and it wasn't even like, we apologize. It was like, we're doing a teachers union on that day.
Get out.
Yeah. You have to find another day. And I was like, guys, we're a month away. No, you find somewhere else. Like, you were not even scheduled. So we're like, oh my God, we canceled. No, we're not canceling. So we had Branch, Trish, Eva, Rich Gaspari. It was a
big crew.
Fucking like, and you know, everybody is in the peak of their careers, right? Trish is doing her thing. Eva is doing her thing. Of course, you've always been doing your thing. And then Rich came out with Gaspari, and then we had a couple of other athletes, and everybody was saying like, I remember you texting me like, Flex, where the fuck are we? You're like, where the fuck are we? And for you to say that, you know, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. But I had my brother that was standing on the road with a sign that said Flex Lewis Classic, and he was holding in this poor fucker. He's actually coming into town today. He's holding this. I said, go up to the road, because there was no sign for the school. It was just nothingness. It was like, fucking, remember that half a mile was selling combine harvesters. And we found this venue, and then Branch came and tore the house down. So I had, and the only reason why I mentioned this, and obviously it's a nice flashback, but we had 90 competitors in our first show. And then a year later, I had 180, and you came back and you done your thing again, mate. So, you know, you've been obviously very connected with me over my years, and earlier in my career as well. We've gone around, you know, the world. We've had a lot of fun, a lot of toasts. We've won shows together. British Grand Prix together, right?
Yes.
And then what else have we won? Where we together?
Was it I think Europa or something, was it?
Yeah, Europa. Yeah, I know we've won shows. 212 and the Open at the same time, this is always a great connection to have, right?
Yes.
You can always celebrate then. Where were we when we were in?
I was just talking about that British Grand Prix this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gary Phillips came to the guest house, and we're talking. He brought it up, and I was like, I remember it like it was yesterday. You know, it was
me too.
You know, me, Rolly, Johnny. And I'm like, yeah, Flex won the 212, and I'm like, and I remember Ronnie Raquel got stupid on stage, and started trying to push off the stage and all this.
That's
stuff.
right. Yeah.
I think I turned around, Johnny had him by the throat, and I grabbed him by the arm, and he slammed him
wow.
across the stage.
Fuck me, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so he was bringing all that up. I was like, yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday.
Did you have footage of that too?
he didn't have footage of it. I've never seen footage of it. I know it has to exist somewhere.
I was there, so I know it
Yeah.
fucking existed.
So, but yeah, the dude was getting so stupid aggressive,
Yeah.
elbowing and pushing and all that. So
Was that Wembley or was that Manchester? I can't remember. The reason why, me and Jose spoke about this situation happening for me. I nearly got into a fight with somebody at the banquet. Somebody that shouldn't have been in there, and I kicked him out, and he got a little, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. So I guess I'll tell the story, right? So
If you want to, I mean,
so we're at the British Grand Prix 2012. So we just done the Arnold Classic the week before.
yes,
And went to London to do the British Classic and the British Grand Prix, and Ronnie Raquel's in the show. Johnny, E. Rulli, I forget.
it's a great lineup. I know
Great
that.
lineup. It was
a great lineup.
It was a solid lineup, man. And,
Fucking great lighting too.
great venue.
Yeah.
It was like I think they had the Olympics there at one point.
That's right. It was in Wembley.
Yeah, Wembley. Yeah, and great venue and hotel. Just everything was top notch, and they took really good. I think Simon Fan
And
Neil were the promoters. Took great care of us, man. Really ran it like the Arnold, almost just super from an athlete's perspective. Really well run. We get on stage and prejudging, and Ronnie Rocco starts getting super aggressive, like elbowing and pushing or something. And I'm like trying to step from me, and I'm like, finally I turn around, and I go, bro, the fuck's your problem? I'm like, you want to fucking bodybuild or fight? And because now I'm getting pissed because it's like I get being aggressive and wanting to win,
Yeah.
but it's like, dude, this ain't a contact sport, so stop, dude, because this is I'm not gonna stop. It ain't gonna happen. And not that I'm a badass or anything by any means, but I'm like, dude, just stop, And let's just bodybuild here. And so we went out to the prejudging, they separated us, or whatever, and then we come back for the night show, and he starts getting stupid, right? We do the pose down. Well, me and Johnny are posing, and Ronnie wasn't even in the freaking running to win. He was like running fourth or fifth, yeah, something like that. And so me and Johnny are posing. He tries to get in between us, and of course we don't let him. And then he shoves me, and I remember it's like a 3-foot drop off or something off the stage.
Yeah.
And my foot went off. I almost went off the stage, and I'm like, you motherfucker. That's what I'm thinking. I turn around. By the time I get up and turn around, Johnny had him by the throat or some shit. And so I grab him, and dude, we just fling this dude across the stage. For Steve, was some big
Steve's head judge.
Big
Yeah,
Steve head judge, and he's like, screaming on the microphone, saying something, for the stop.
You just noise it up on the thing, right?
And so the dudes come out and pull everybody apart. They put Ronnie over here and me and Johnny.
Shit.
And now it's like you're at that point where I'm like, you don't even give a fuck about the show. Now you're just fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, the fuck this dude. And so I look at Johnny, and Johnny goes, yo, man, this dude comes over here, we can get him. And we're on stage, we're thinking like this. And I'm looking at Johnny, I'm like, fuck yeah, fuck this dude.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, then we're sitting there, and I calm down a minute, and I'm just like, fuck, I probably just lost the show, because this is not sportsmanlike at all.
Yeah.
This kind of shit should never happen on the stage. First time I've ever, in all my years, ever even seen something like that. And I win the show. I think he gets fourth. Johnny, I think he got third. And we get backstage, and of course he's back there with his girl or something. And Steve comes back there, and I'm like, I'm gonna get an earful. And Big Steve was like, yo, man, why'd you knock that motherfucker out? And I'm like,
Now you tell me.
I'm like, now you tell me. I'm like, fuck, I wanted to win the show, man. I wasn't trying to get disqualified.
Shit.
And he goes over and talks to fucking Ronnie.
Yeah.
And his chick starts just like
Steve?
Yeah, to Steve or something. And Steve looks at her and goes, I know you want to hit me. Go on, take a swing.
Shit,
Something. And Ronnie steps in and calms it down. And
Fuck,
so I don't know. We never spoke about it. So
until now.
yeah.
Yeah, there's so many different stories that when I start talking to people, it's like, oh yeah. That's why I love doing this podcast. I'm talking to old friends, that have lived a life like me and lived certainly a life that has had a lot of success and a lot of travels. And I think most of my great memories are from travels. Because when you're in the competition mode, you're so like...
You got this tunnel vision.
Until the prejudging is coming going, right? I feel like that bag is lifted off your back. But when you...
I don't think... I'll tell you something. So I was on stage in 2009 Olympia. And remember I was standing there next to Jay, and Jay looked at me and goes, dude, try to take this in and enjoy it. And he goes, I never have. And he said, I'm going to try to. And you hear that, but, and I didn't think about it until later. And I was like, yeah, you're right, but you can't. You can't, because, when you're in the hunt, you can't. And it wasn't until I was retired and away from it for a couple of years that I looked back, and I was like, because when I was competing, I never looked at myself and thought, damn, I look good or anything like that. It wasn't until I was done. I looked back and I was like, fuck, I looked okay. And but you're so focused, and you know, you win a show, even a big show, and you might go out and celebrate that night. The next day, I don't even want to talk about it because I look at the pictures, I'd be mad. I'm like, okay, I could have done this better. I need to prove this, this, and all I want to do is get back to the gym and start training. And, that's you're just so focused, you just don't. Can't really appreciate it.
I literally said the same thing, not but yesterday. You get this, you know, focused this one day. You get on stage, you do what you've been planning to do. You visualized. You have a little fucking celebration, and then the next morning you wake up. In fact, I felt better the next morning because I woke up with that the first time ever. I was like, and then I'd replace the with some other fucking pressure I put on myself. So it was the show day celebration, like you know, trophy goes up. The next morning I woke up, great feeling, and then okay, what's next? I always had to have a what's next, and I never could be in the moment. The only time that I would say that I was present for my show was the 2018 when I told the world, I told myself this is going to be my last 212. So I remember walking up the steps backstage, you know, the Orleans, and you know what I'm talking about. Them steps are pretty cold until you hit that fucking wood on the Orleans stage, and it's warm as hell. And I just remember all these details because I was like, I was there. But fucking 10 years prior to that, I can't remember any of these details. I remember trying to be present whilst, you know, when you're hitting poses, you're just fucked. But then when I get put back into the line, I was standing there and I look around, I was like, this place is pretty fucking full. I've never realized how fucking full this is. Just them details, right? Sure. Without making yourself overly nervous, but outside of that, that was the last time. That was the last time I stood on stage.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I never took it in. I never really enjoyed it. I think until I got done, then I could look back and I was like, and then it's just it's a different perspective.
Yeah.
You know, when you're in the hunt, you're in the fight, you're so focused. I would get up the next day, and you had that pressure off you, especially if you won. You're like, all right, cool. But then I was like, fuck it, that was yesterday.
Yeah.
And in our sport, you're only as good as your last contest.
True.
And so no matter what it was, now it's like focus on the next one. I need to do this. I need to get my meals in. I want to get back home so I can train in my gym. And that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And, you know, also we traveled all the time because that's part of it. But, you know, that was it's the way it was. And I think if you weren't like that, though, you could never get to the top.
Did you miss it?
Competing? No, I don't. I missed the challenge. I missed that tunnel vision focus. See, what attracted me to bodybuilding was, see, I played American football. I love football. At my height, I was never going to be an American football player. But bodybuilding, and the thing that used to bother me about football is I remember we'd play ball, and if one guy wasn't doing his job, was fucking off, we'd lose the game. And I used to get so mad because I wanted to win. So imagine, I'm very competitive. Imagine that. But the thing that attracted me about bodybuilding, it's you. And I mean, you make it, it is what it is. And I mean, it's really on you. Even if you have a trainer, coach, whatever, and they make a mistake, it's still on you because it's you. And that's what I liked about it, because I don't have to depend on 5 other, 11 other, 10 or whatever, 10 other guys, whatever it is. It's on me. I make or break it based on me. And so, you know, my thing was outwork everybody. If I could outwork everybody, I believed I could beat everybody.
Yeah.
And and it's in football, you can outwork everybody, but if the other guys ain't doing it, you can still lose. And so that's what attracted me to it. So I missed that laser focus. Actual competing and all that, no. So I have no regrets. I mean, you know, do I wish I won Olympia? Of course. But I did everything I could do, bro. And it is what it is. So I won every other show in the world. I had, like, when I was 18, I had this whole, I planned my whole career out. I was like, I'm going to do this, and this. And I had short-term, medium-term, and long-term goal. Yeah. The long-term goal was win Olympia. And, you know, and I achieved all those goals, except for, obviously, I didn't win. Got second to Olympia, but everything else I did.
So that one goal, that one thing is the only one thing you haven't achieved?
Correct.
Wow. How old are you when you set this out?
18.
Incredible.
I can tell you when I planned it out. I won the Teenage Nationals, 1993. And
overall, right?
Yeah, overall.
Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler was a heavyweight. Caprice Murray, Rodney St. Cloud were middleweights. And
what a lineup there.
Yeah, and I think Jeff Willett also was another pro. So I think 5 pros came out of that show.
Wow.
And I was driving from my house to Metroflex. And at the time, I was the first person in Metroflex to win a national competition.
Oh shit!
So even Ronnie hadn't won a national
Damn.
competition yet. So, and so, now granted, it's the teenage nationals or whatever, but
Still.
But I was like, fuck, I just won the nationals. So I'm like 18 years old, and I'm driving, and I just graduated high school. I was getting ready to go to school, go to college or whatever. And I remember on the drive to the gym, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this. This is my ticket out of this shit, and I'm gonna have a better life for me, for my mother, and everything. I'm like, and I sat there on that drive, about a 25-minute drive, and I said, all right, man, I'm gonna go to school, and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna turn pro. I'm going to pro shows, and I had all these goals planned out, and stuck to the plan.
Incredible. So, man, I know I've taken way much more of your time up than I intended, but thank you very much for being so open, honest, and just fucking being one hell of a good guy. That's been a massive inspiration to me and fucking millions of others around the world. You know, you're blue collar. You are authentic as the day is long. You also make some great fucking beef jerky, man. Not gonna lie to you, and I'm gonna tuck into this on there.
I want to send you a box every month now. From
oh shit!
So it's
well, you've done a hell of a job, yeah, mate. And just before leaving, and I do want to ask you this question, and the last question of the podcast: what's next for Branch Warren?
What's next for Branch Warren? I'm just gonna keep being me. Keep doing what I love doing. So Wicked Cuts is doing really well. So we had a great 22. 23 is going to be even better. I'm going to continue working with Michael and everybody over at Gas and Better Bodies. I've got a lot of big plans for 23 going on with them. Keep doing what I do, man. Keep going to the gym. I train. I said this before. I think I said it with Fuad, and on his podcast we did a couple years back. I said some people train because they're bodybuilders. I was a bodybuilder because I love to train. There's a difference. So all you guys out there who wonder why I still train hard and train the way I do, that's why. I love to train. Plain and simple. And, my form ain't the greatest. I'll be the first to tell you that, but it works for me. And I beg anybody to tell me that it didn't work for me. So, and it's, they don't care how much you bench press or how your dumbbell form looks when you're on stage. They care how you look. So, and I've never once told anybody they need to do what I do. If you can look at what I do and take something from that and incorporate it into your training and make yourself better, that's a win for everybody. Yeah. So, so I'm gonna keep doing what I do and keep training, keep pushing forward, and enjoy the biggest honor of my life is in watching my little daughter grow up. And she's a great student. She's a even better gymnast, and she's pursuing her dreams. And so it's I know she already has some pretty big dreams, and she's already set the bar and possibly higher for herself. And I think I get it because I was that kid too. Yeah. So I'm just gonna support her, watch her climb the ladder, and watch her dreams. And hopefully, everybody has dreams. Very few people pursue their dream, even fewer get to live it. So, and the men in this room, we both got to live ours. And so I hope my daughter gets to live hers too.
Well, man, the apple won't fall far from the tree. I got the fucking word out eventually. Fall far from the tree. Fall far from the tree. The apple won't fall from the tree. It's in your bloodline. It's in her blood too. Branch and Trish together have created this super child. I've seen her gymnastic skills at a very young age, and I'm like, this is not her. Unbelievable. She's definitely destined to do something great, and to have the mentality as a child is a testimony to both you and Trish of how you've raised her, mate. So, as your boy, great job. As a dad, great job too, man.
Thank you. Same to you. Yeah. So I know you got a beautiful family, great wife, and 2 young children, and so I know you get it. You understand what I'm saying?
I get it, mate. I get it, mate. As always, it's a pleasure. I keep on looking at this turkey, this jerky that you created. Bro. I'm gonna fucking put it in my mouth after I say, straight out the lair, Branch Warren and Flex Lewis out.